throughout the nation and around the globe. From his heart to yours, it's Dear James Live, bringing you intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights. I am your host, Dear James, and I am joined by my fabulous co-host, the Lady Jaclyn. And together we join forces each Wednesday to bring you intuitive insights and human design guidance on the current energies, and we take your questions live. So anything that you're dealing with, you let us know, put it out to us, put it in the comments as you're joining us. Put your shout out in the comments to us and your questions and everything, and we will answer your questions live throughout the broadcast. So, the Lady Jaclyn, I have a question. I'm going to put the first question out there. I just want to know, are we doing like the backstroke, the butterfly, freestyle? Like, what is going on with these energies and everything? Because I'm putting it out there. What stroke? The breaststroke? Which one are we doing?
I'm gonna say the butterfly.
I love that.
But I'm actually just treading water at the moment. To be very honest.
I know.
It doesn't look pretty.
Isn't it funny? Like, you just said, I'm just going to tread the water. And I'm like, yes, why aren't we all just floating? And have you ever watched people go out and try to float and they sink like a lead ball, like the thunk, like, no, you're just supposed to float. That means you have to like be at one with the universe. You have to be at one, be at peace, be.
Go with the flow, be light. So actually straight off the bat, I want to ask you, because last week off the air, like we caught up a little bit after our last show, and you mentioned to me water. And you know what's so fascinating, and maybe you can touch on this again, is here in Cape Town, we've had literally the last, is it 2 days? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? Yeah, about 2-3 days of heavy rainfall that it's literally been flooding, like roads and people's homes. And we had a laugh. Well, it's not a funny topic, but like last week we had a giggle because I had my geyser burst. So I was sitting without water, and then you were like, no, it's so aligned, like everything with water at the moment. And oh my gosh, this is what's happening. Today has been the first day in the last 3 days that I actually can see blue skies. Thankfully, I managed to see the full moon, because it's just been pouring with rain. Like, what is going on astrologically?
Yes, it's this aspect with Neptune. And isn't it funny? Like, we started off, literally, we just jumped on 2 minutes before and hear this analogy of water. And I had forgotten about that from last Thursday, that we were literally about. So there's an aspect that's happening with Neptune. And it happened with the full moon. I mean, I believe the full moon was trining, sextile trining something with Neptune. And so there's this issue about water or effects of water. And so isn't it funny that we were literally, the analogy that we opened the show with today is about water, swimming. And you and I both giggled because we did this as, unbeknownst to each of us, we did this as children. And I said, oh, why did I say I wanted to do that and sign up? And you're freezing cold as a little kid. And you said, oh, I still have PTSD about that.
I do. I don't want to say it loud because my mom might be watching.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mine too. Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, literally, like when you said something, I was like, oh, I can smell the chlorine. Like, I used to swim before school, I swim after school, and I just do not like willingly swim. I'll go swim in the sea, but do not ask me to put a cap and goggles on and go swim in the pool. Like, I'm
not going to go train or swim laps, and I'm certainly not going to do it at 5 a.m. when it's just brutally cold on the East Coast. No, it's not happening.
No.
And you know what's the irony, because we've mentioned our moms. My mom will often say to me, but you guys wanted to do it. You said you wanted to do it. And so, of course, they enrolled us in what we said we wanted to do. And yet as adults, we're sitting there going, oh, PTSD. And, why, mommy, why? And there they were. Yeah, there they were, ensuring that we were doing something we said we wanted to do, or I don't know.
But
Yes.
you know what came to mind now with this water is it's also about cleansing and like clearing and
Yes.
detoxifying, you know. So I think with at the moment, if you're looking at what's happening collectively, obviously there's a lot of, I mean, here I'm talking about what's happening here in Cape Town. There's a lot of destruction. There's a lot of upheaval. I mean, listen, people were like chaos trying to drive on these roads in these huge storms. It was actually incredible to see the power of nature and how like not in control you actually are. That was kind of a really big reminder of no matter how prepared you are, you're actually not prepared, because you're actually not in control of like what happens anyway. So, but then in saying that, there was also clearing, because after, you know, such huge storms, the sky almost looks bluer and the air is crisper, because obviously it's very cold right now, but it's like this clearing, it's
purifying,
this rebirth, purifying, right?
It's a purifying, yes. It's that cleansing, but with the aspect of purifying. And that's what keeps coming over and over again, is this aspect of how in need we are, how in need humanity is of a cleansing, a purifying, a renewal, a reset. And so, yes, and what does water do when there's, one could say, too much? Well, flooding, and it wipes things away. The power of nature resets itself. It's like, hey, this is in my way or whatever. And, you know, water just goes through. Water finds its course, its least resistance, and and the force of it, the power of it moves things. So, yes, so we have a cleansing going on, a purifying, a reset.
It is. So I actually, if it's okay, I want to kick off.
Absolutely, jump in.
It's a perfect intro into what human design is showing us at the moment. So the sun is in gate 12, and the gate 12 is all about words, right? And how you use your words and the power of words, and it's the master of communication. So with this energy, you have the power and the potential to really empower or to cut someone down or yourself down, right? So it's kind of because the energy through the words are felt immediately. So it's not necessarily even what you say, but it's also how you say it, which is really important. It's the tone that it comes across. And with that, it's almost like it ties hand in hand, because I feel called to share kind of what's been happening on my end. Is I've really been mindful of focusing my energy and attention on what I say to myself. So my self-talk, you know, the stories that we keep telling ourselves that we sometimes are so subconscious about. And I really put into practice this idea of, okay, I want to manifest, let me intentionally manifest with the story that I keep telling myself and see what happens. And I can honestly tell you, over the last 3 days, I have intentionally repeated, I've been reprogramming, you know, the story, but also like intentionally repeating and saying over and over and over to myself, empowering phrases and words, right? And I can see the synchronicities happening. I can see everything starting to kind of take shape and fall into place. But it's so beautiful because there's no control or kind of expectation behind what I say to myself. It's kind of going, I'm going to choose a story that's empowering, and I'm going to feel it vibrationally, and then I'm going to watch in awe and surprise as to what the universe has in store for me. And honestly, it's been absolutely incredible. So it really does tie in. It's almost like the universe is reminding us to re-look at the words we choose to use, right? The stories that we're telling ourselves.
Powerful.
The words, the words that we're talking to other people about. Because this also, when something happens, this is also what I've noticed, is if something happens, like with us at the moment with the floods, everyone gets very consumed in speaking about the stories that are negative, right? And yes, obviously you have to bring attention to what is actually happening, but you don't have to get stuck and lost, because it's kind of being mindful and conscious how much energy you give to certain stories or to certain situations or to certain words, right? And it's also being mindful of the words that you do tend to use. So it's very interesting to see kind of like how it plays out, because through that we're grounded in ideas. So when we're consciously present with how we're showing up and being in that state of like, coming from an empowered feeling, we're actually also becoming a vessel for ideas, which is really interesting.
Very empowering, right? I mean, and it's also a practical. So as you know, we always talk about from the unseen and the seen, the human design of things, the literal and the practical, and the words, what you were just saying, how empowering. And one of the literal practices that I often use myself and with clients is I say, when you're in a negative moment or a negative thought or it just pops in, immediately start, like my go-to word is love. And I'll just start saying the word love, 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 love. And it immediately shifts me. It brings me back into balance and harmony. It reminds me of love yourself, love others, love. It might either be, happy, healthy as another one go to, like happy, healthy, happy, healthy. There's all kinds of different words. The power of words, the empowerment of words, where you can internally quietly say them to yourself. You can say them with or to another. It's powerful. You're in a heated argument. You can use peace, peace, peace. And immediately you see the word itself, just stating the word, brings the tempo down, calms the energy. So this is exactly what you're speaking to, Jaclyn, on current energies, and it's fascinating. I love this because it is the empowerment. It is our words and our thoughts and how we utilize them with one another that truly impacts us. I mean, it's
and that heart-centeredness, like you mentioned, our love, and it's so incredible because the 12 is also the heart-centeredness. So it's kind of like speaking from the heart. Are you speaking with love and compassion and empathy, and not just to everybody else? Because I think a lot of people do it so effortlessly to everybody else, but also to yourself. Because This has been a very transformational period. I mean, we've been speaking about this every week. There's been some kind of a transformation or a breakthrough or a shifting through a crisis or a fear, right? So if you think about it, it's never about anybody else. It's always about yourself. But we're so easy to give somebody else the compassion that we're needing to first give ourselves as well, which is probably the most important thing.
Absolutely, to employ that with ourselves, because when we do, well, then it's more effortless and easy for us to do it with others. And that's, so it really depends on which side of the spectrum. You can be where you do it with others, but you deny yourself, or you can be denying yourself and you don't do it with others. And because of that, you need to employ more self-care, self-love, and something also for everyone joining us and listening and who's been with us throughout this journey. No matter when you watch or listen to these videos, you'll see these Wednesdays, the wisdom and insights. There's this beautiful tapestry being woven by the unseen. The Lady Jaclyn and I come together from an intuitive side and from a human design aspect. And we're guided, we listen, and we go with where the energies and the gates take us and everything. And they've been taking us on this amazing journey. So no matter when you join or when you see them and you listen, you'll see the themes, the tapestry, the threads being woven as a way of where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. And that's the beauty of this wisdom, these weekly shows and everything for us, because we don't choreograph them, we don't pre-script them, we listen and we show up and we do what we do, and we do it live. So we go literally and there's times the Lady Jaclyn and I've laughed because we're like, well, we thought we were going this way maybe, and then woo, we go this way, because the universe is like, nope, we're going to give you the literal example of what you're going to speak about today in the moment, in the live. And how do you apply that? We're saying this because this is exactly what we're meant to do in our individual lives. We're meant to go with the flow. We're meant to experience the cleansing, the purifying, the literal tools by which we can do that, so as to arrive at our destination, but also to experience our journeys in a more pure way, is the way it's coming to me. So, well, let's jump in, because the unseen, to get to the energies, and then a reminder, we are taking your questions live. So by all means, if you have questions about something that's going on, put it in the comments. From a human design standpoint, the Lady Jaclyn will need your date, time, place of birth, so that she can pull up your chart, and she can also pull it up on screen. We share screen and everything and all of that. So we're taking your questions live as well. So with today's energies, and it so fits with everything you've been talking about, of course it does. It always does. That's what's so beautiful about it. I know, right? This is what's so amazing about it. It's just so funny when I love this. We're always in awe. So today is June 15th, 2022. So right off the bat, and the whole 2022 is a 6 year. The month of June is a 6. Today, 15, 1-5, is a 6. So we literally have triple sixes. And immediately I heard, keep your eye on the prize, with an exclamation point. So it was about not getting, again, 6 is about conflict and destiny. Which one are you living? Which one are you experiencing? I mean, ultimately, you're experiencing destiny, period. However, destiny is where we're going. So are you in conflict with it? Are you in conflict with people and things in your life and everything? Or, from the water analogy at the top of the show, are you flowing with it? Are you floating? Are you one with it? Are you in the cleansing of it? And then they said to me, so there's this keep your eye on the prize, and then these triple sixes, and they said the triple crown of success. And then in the US, there's a triple crown that's associated with thoroughbreds. It's the Preakness, the Belmont, and the Kentucky Derby. And whichever thoroughbred wins all 3 races is the triple crown winner. In this sense, and think about that, thoroughbreds. This fast-moving beauty, stealth, empowerment, power. So here's this analogy, and then they said the triple crown of success - service. And 666, of course, has a well-known biblical association with Satan, the devil, if you will. However, 666 is also really about, 6s are associated with spirit and service. It's like, stay focused on spirit and service, knowing that what you need emotionally and financially and all of these things will automatically come as a result, as you and I have often spoke about, Jaclyn, about, because we're listening, we're aligned with our soul source connection. And so because we're in this lane of an authenticity, 15, hexagram 15 is about modesty, humility, integrity, authenticity. And they're uniting words. And you were just speaking about words. This is where the current energies from a human design standpoint are. And from the I Ching, hexagram 15 with these words, it's about uniting them. It's about being them. It's about bringing into light all of us. All of us as in all of us, and all of us as in within the one. So you can see, because ultimately they said, this is about faith. Keeping your eye on the prize is about faith. How is about modesty, humility, integrity, authenticity, coming into alignment with that. That's the floating in the pool. That's the going with the flow. Because when we're naturally, organically in that lane, it's effortless. If we're an ego, mind, personality, and we're fighting for a different outcome, it's inauthentic, harmful, all this stuff, we're in the hurricane. And so here's where this comes together. And there was I was reminded of a biblical verse. They brought it into me, and I share this from a spiritual place and from a just purity, truth. It's 2 Chronicles 7:14, and in essence, it speaks to when my people humble themselves, I'll heal them. I'll heal their land. And so you can see how this 666, triple crown of spirit and service, playing to hexagram 15, modesty, authenticity, humility, integrity. When we, collectively and individually, live in this way, the unseen, the higher power, heals. The higher power delivers. So it's fascinating how this comes together. And lastly, they said, that which is unseen will be seen by you. So this is saying they're setting us up in the most positive way. It's like they're teeing us up to see that which has been unseen, to literally see it, feel it, receive it, be it. So there's a lot here. And I'm just reminded, they're giving me this in the moment. We'll kick it back over that it's all well and good, right? It's all well and good. It sounds wonderful. And here I am living my respective life. Here I am. So how do I apply this? Because there's a sense of, when you look at the chaos, but from the chaos comes the calm. You said this, right? 3 days of rain, downpouring, the craziness of it, and yet the sky appears bluer. Because there's a clarity to it. There's a, so the purifying. So how do we incorporate this in our everyday lives? Like this tapestry that we've been on, this journey that we've been on, that they've been weaving. It's to get into this lane, into this way. And when we fall short, when we fall out of it, it's how quickly do we bounce back, recover, so as to be in harmony with it. Because, it comes of its own accord. It's going to occur.
And part of the journey is also to know yourself. Is to kind of reconnect back with yourself, because you have the knowing of self, like who you are. So it's kind of remembering who you actually are, right?
Soul self.
Soul self.
Soul self.
Lost, 100%. And not getting lost in, everything that's around you, everything that's happening around you. So when you're talking about this, it's kind of, and it's so interesting because the gate 12 is also about truth, just speaking truth. So this is your expression. I actually want to read, because I found Karen Curry Parker's The Quantum Human Design, and she has a beautiful explanation of the gate 12. So the mastery of the gate 12, she says, it's to know that your voice is an expression of transformation and a vehicle for divine insight. The words you speak, the insights and creativity you share have the power to change others and the world. This energy is so powerful that people have to be ready to receive it. And when you articulate, then the timing is correct. If you struggle to find the words, have the courage to wait until you feel more aligned. And it's so beautiful because it is true. It's like divine timing. It's right timing. And we spoke about this so many times, where you try and push. And when you push, you're kind of, you're going upstream, as Abraham Hicks would say. Like you're not flowing with the flow. You're doing doggy style and trying to keep your head above water, rather than actually, doing the breaststroke or flying with the butterfly or doing the freestyle. You know what I mean? Like, so to use the analogy was what we started off with. But honestly, right now, there's a lot of truth that's also going to come to light, because I think it is about the truth element. It is about the heart element. So when you think about the news, or you think about collectively what's happening as well, there's going to be a lot of light that's shone on things that were hidden. And also because we've just, transitioned through a really beautiful, powerful full moon, that full moon also acts as a spotlight. So it really heightens anything that needs to come out in your own personal experience. So maybe if you were anything like me a few days before the full moon, you really had emotional, I want to say, breakthroughs and experiences to understand, okay, hold on, where am I at? Who am I actually? What is this process? And kind of like going through the self-love to go through the process, because, in order to go through the process, that's kind of how the transformation happens, right? So it's allowing yourself to know that anything that's coming up or anything that's coming to light is designed that way because you're strong enough to deal with it and you're capable. And even though you can't see the bigger picture, it's sometimes knowing and trusting. I got reminded the other day, my mom actually said, we're so quick to trust in the seen, but it's when you trust in the unseen, that's kind of trust, that's trust
absolute.
That's deep within your bones. Yeah, that's absolute, exactly. So it's trusting what you cannot see, because it's sometimes by looking back that you actually see the beauty of what that picture looks like. But it's that trust in knowing that the picture is beautiful. You know what I mean? And this is what we spoke about. I think it was last week or the week before, which is focusing on the bigger picture and not getting lost in the everyday kind of like, I want to say struggles or mundanes, the things we kind of blow out of proportion because they're so frustrating, instead of actually going, hold on, this is all part of the plan. It's part of the journey. It's part of the process.
And literally, Jaclyn, yes, because literally email I get notes from the universe. And it was literally about this analogy of, if you look at the steps of a salsa, a tango, any dance, and you were to see just one step, it might look contorted or excruciating or painful or out of place. However, when you see the entire dance, it's all perfectly orchestrated. It's perfection. It's all of and this is what you're speaking to, is when we look at one individual thing, or the seen, as your mom says, versus the unseen, when we only have faith in one aspect, or we see it from one instance, then it's distorted or contorted or feels out of step. Or however, when we open up and take that breath and flow and allow to say, okay, well, there's each life and the grander scheme of everything, there's a master weaver. We are a guest. We've said this before. We're the guest. We're not the host, we're the guest. And so when we allow ourselves to experience and see, to open up and take a breath and step back, well, then we can see, even in hindsight, okay, how masterful was that painful moment? Because now I see it in the context of a greater arc, a greater story, a greater dance. Now it's coming. And so again, the way through is this soul source connection and humility. It's about humility. And I want to jump back to this, because this was the piece it's associated with hexagram 15, this 666, the triple crown. And it says, humility is rewarded in human affairs. It is the way of the universe to fill the empty cup and to empty the full cup, just as valleys are ultimately filled by the erosion of great mountains. Regardless of your position in human society, humility is a deceptively powerful attribute that is often overlooked. If you are in a high position but remain humble, people will be drawn to you and causes that you espouse. If your position is lowly, humility will endear you to those of higher status. True humility is a virtue that benefits all and to which all should aspire. It goes on to say that, sorry, I'm just bringing it up. Always happens when I'm bouncing between all these different screens. There we go. The most successful people are those who know how to bring situations into balance by reducing those which are too inflated and adding to those that are too low. So humility speaks to both endurance, but endearment. It is the flavor, the richness, it's that ingredient in the soup that makes it wow. And it's so true, because when you act with humility, no matter your status, and sometimes especially because of your status, this illusion, ego, mind, personality, the illusion of the material world, when you do so from a place of humility, people are truly either endeared to you or repelled.
Mm-hmm.
It's the two. It's the way to, the way through. And that's what all of these energies are speaking about. You speaking about the heart center and 12 and the moment. They're like this, boom, and the signal dropped, and we're like, okay, yep, you're done. That was that. Have a nice day.
When you said we're moving through, and then it's like, are you sure you're moving through? Yes, we're moving through. We're moving through the little interruption. So you know what's really incredible, because yesterday I watched the halftime show that Jennifer Lopez is on Netflix. It's Jennifer Lopez's halftime show, right? And it basically, I just want to quickly see, because it's, okay, there we're back. Okay, because I just wanted to double check because it wasn't coming up for me. So I watched the halftime show. It's on Netflix. It's just newly released now. It's about J-Lo when she did her halftime show at the Super Bowl. And what it was about was so incredible, because I thought, okay, I was going to watch the behind the scenes, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, it's just going to be super, super fun. And you know what it actually was about? It was more about her journey and opening up about the bigger picture of what she's actually going through, and the fact that, I mean, how many, like, we all know who J-Lo is. Like, I've not met a person who doesn't know who Jennifer Lopez is, or who hasn't heard one of her songs or seen one of her performances, or even listened to like some of her songs, right? Yet she has not won like a single big like accolade. Like she got nominated for, I think, a Golden Globe. She has yet to get nominated for an Oscar. And it was so incredible, because it was like you were walking through this journey with her, and then you realize, actually, hold on, even though we're looking at her going, oh, she's super successful, but yet the people who are supposed to, you know,
right, the industries, right,
the industries, right, supposed to give her the credit as well, we kind of just assume it's happened. No, it hasn't happened. But the bigger picture, the bigger storyline was also that she was coming back to center, going, actually, there's the bigger reason of why I'm not doing this, because if I was attached to the accolades, or then I would struggle to get up in the morning, you know, like I would struggle to actually continue, because what would be the point? And she was actually touching base on the point. But for me, it was so beautiful, and it had such a deeper meaning, because it was like, whoa, you know yourself this much that you can continue, and you can literally see her career flourishing, and she's just starting. Meantime, she's been doing this for however many years, and it's exactly the same thing. It's like the truth of yourself, that's the power. So it's like, how are you powerfully communicating to yourself, telling yourself the story? Are you, because at the end of the day, nobody else is going to empower you besides yourself, but it comes from a space of knowing yourself and being connected, right? And being tuned in to the bigger picture of why and what's actually happening. So it's definitely a must, like, go, if you haven't seen it and you just want to, Netflix and chill, I highly recommend that you go and watch it, and then let me know if you felt the same way watching that show, because for me it was absolutely incredible. It was such a good documentary.
And she was also, if I'm not mistaken, she was given an award or acknowledged in some way, and she said, I want to thank everyone who told me no, or that I wasn't capable, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't this, that, or the other, because that's her sense of, okay, and did it anyways. And she is iconic, and it is one of those things where it is interesting to realize somebody can be that successful and yet not be acknowledged by her peers, if you will, by the industries by which she is performing.
Mm-hmm.
And yet
that's supposed to legitimize her success, but it's already successful.
And yet and yet for the most part, people, she plays roles. She does things where she is endearing. And this is what we were speaking to, this thing of there's a humility, there's an endearment, there is a, an everyday person type gift that's there and present with her. And that plays to exactly what they said, which was keep your eye on the prize. The prize isn't the title, the prestige. It's not those elusive or illusions. It's not that. Keep your eye on the prize is the truth, your center, your soul source connection, the deliverance of something better. Because if you're chasing your tail, if you're chasing the prestige, the notoriety, the fame, the fortune, whatever material aspect, because 666, focus on spirit and service, knowing that your emotional and financial needs will be automatically met as a result. It sums it up. And here she is, like, I'm going to get up every day. I'm going to do me. I'm going to go forth and expand as I know to expand, irregardless of others' input. And how beautiful that those people showed up for her to say no, or to say you're not good enough or whatever, which did what? Cloak of opposites empowered her. Right. No problem. I got it. Moving along. Let's go. Because she didn't get caught up in the storm. She kept her eye on the prize. Not a bad gig of you, when you get it.
Totally. And there's also a theme as well, because it's kind of like the conditioning that you put on yourself as well. So what I've been noticing is that, like how you said, it's if you're constantly being driven towards that external success or the perceived expectation of what your life should look like your plan, but it's actually not your plan, versus the plan, like your soul's plan, what you actually are here to do, then you it's actually incredible, because it's a bit of soul searching to actually figure out what success actually means to you. So maybe at this point in time, maybe journal a bit and kind of ask yourself and say, okay, well, what does success actually look like to me and my soul? And when I'm truly in alignment and connected, and maybe I have to, numb out or clear out, block out all of the expectations that my parents put on me, the expectations that came from my teachers or society or the schooling or my partner or whatever. It's really getting back to going, hold on, what is actually my purpose and what is actually success? What does success actually look like to me? Like the truth. It's getting to the truth now, the truth of the actual story. That's the energy right now. It's getting to the heart-centeredness of who you actually are, what are you here to do, and what direction you had to go. And maybe it's kind of turned on its head to remind you that actually, hold on, is this actually my story? Or is it somebody else's version or is it somebody else's version of the story? The version of somebody else's story.
Right. Are we living, are we doing something for others? And it's, and look at this surrender. We speak about this all the time. The amount of surrender, and surrender is the most empowering. So to surrender all of these labels, masks, identities, definitions of success, to simply be in your lane, to keep your eye on the prize, to go inward and find the place that says, this is what I truly want to do in spite of, and then having the will and the courage and the humility to pursue it. Because again, it's, humility versus hubris. The arrogance of something is an instant turnoff. And look, you can be the multi-billionaire in the world and seemingly have everything and have nothing. And you can be, quote unquote, the lowliest, if you will, no riches, no material wealth and so forth, and be the absolute gem of the universe. I mean, and we witness this, right? When you see, interviews or people and where they just speak to somebody on the street and you are moved by them. I mean, they absolutely captivate you from the purity of their being. They don't need all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the irony of the fact that we don't take it with us.
Yep.
You know what
so
I'm saying?
Yeah. Totally, 100%. So, you know what's interesting is literally as you're speaking, because I saved a few things, obviously with the full moon, a few people write things on Instagram, so I save it to kind of do it later. And I felt called. I was like, oh, maybe I should share one of the journal prompt quotes. And I'm also actually going to post it. I'm going to copy and post it. It's from Moonlight Energy Healing. I'm going to copy and post it and put it in our group. But I want to share some of them here because what you can do is, if you feel called to, is maybe do some journaling prompts, right? So these are some journaling prompts for you. Is, what would I do if I wasn't afraid?
I love that one.
Right? What negative habits do I need to release? That's also a beautiful, powerful one. What lessons have I learned from the hardships in my life?
That's a powerful, all of these are powerful.
Right? I mean, just like doing one.
Well, right.
But I want to just give you a few more. What could I achieve if I stepped outside of my comfort zone? And then what would my life look like if I took the leap of faith towards my dreams? And there's so many more, but I'm going to copy and paste it. But just those ones, you can already see the wheels start turning when you hear. And also be aware of what you're feeling, like the emotions that it's evoking. You know, what kind of emotions are coming up for you? Because those emotions are indicators of what you're thinking. And then those thoughts are kind of also creating those emotions. So it's kind of addressing both, you know, how are you feeling? What are you thinking? How can you change the feeling? And then how can you also change what you're thinking to be more an empowering story? So this week, it's so, and like you said, it's so beautiful because it really is a journey each week. It's almost like we're packing layer on layer on layer, and we're going deeper and deeper and deeper. And we really are going on this road together to embark on this beautiful blossoming, this opening of, you know, what's expected to come, because there is beauty, there's always opportunities, there's always newness, there's always, as we know, polarity. But this is really a beautiful time of transformation, which is so great.
And there's an opportunity, Jaclyn. They're speaking to me while you're speaking. I'm listening, and they're reminding me, you know, there's an opportunity. It's a human characteristic. This need for control and security and comfort and familiarity. I mean, it's like humans are so conditioned, the routine of things, the identity of that, the association of that. And again, the greater arc, if you look at one piece of the dance, one piece of the story by itself, you may not understand it, it's painful. I grew up a military family. We were never anywhere more than a year and a half, 2 years. So you were constantly being reassigned. My father was constantly being reassigned. And thereby, growing up, you were constantly having to move, constantly having to remake friends, constantly, right? So of course, as a child, you didn't like that. What's the point of this story is that now as an adult, and through my journeys of everything with Dear James and this whole journey, the spiritual journey, it kept teaching me, and I realized, this initial in the very beginning, masterful weaving, okay, they got you used to it. You got you used to it, your soul, in the beginning, so that as it continued, because the change, it's required me to have more and more and more openness, to the point where I now look and I go, okay, none of us know how long our lives are on planet Earth. And so it's like, okay, well then I want to ensure, the moral of the story is, I now more fully embrace, okay, what's next? Okay, where is it? Okay, how do I do it? Okay, what do you want me to do? What did I say I would do? I want to do what I said I would do from a soul perspective. And that's really powerful. Is it scary at times? Yes. However, it is so rich and expansive. And the way you do it, and I realized this when I moved from the States to Paris, to France, new culture, didn't speak the language and so forth. I knew instantly that what was required of me was to be childlike, to be like a baby, a child. That if I really wanted to thrive there, I needed to come at it as though I was an infant. That meant being humbled with humility, so as to receive, so as to really be embraced and so forth. One of the most life-changing experiences I ever had in the most positive, beautiful way. And the difference was that I didn't go at it arrogant and, hey, I know everything, and no, like a baby. And that's really the energy of today, the words, the energy, the flow. It's this humility, and it's a triple crown of, like, you want the ultimate prize? Walk, speak, talk, think, act with humility, with authenticity, with integrity, with modesty, because that is going to deliver you. That is going to open you up and expand you in ways you never knew possible. And we see on a world stage, right? When people are immoral, immodesty, hubris, arrogance, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, it's contracted energy versus
Isn't it?
expansiveness.
Right. And yet there's a misnomer that we think, oh, that kind of behavior, see you go places. Do you?
That's the old paradigm that we spoke about, yeah. No, definitely. So it is. It's walking with curiosity and surprise and wonder and awe and gratitude. The quickest way to reframe your thoughts or limiting beliefs is through gratitude.
Right.
And it's sometimes so frustrating because it's something so simple. And I'm
Isn't
like,
it?
and I always go back to my mom because she laughs at me because she's always a reminder. Like if I have a little mini tantrum, she's like, "But did you give gratitude today?" And I'm like, "Oh, I know, I am grateful." And
she's like, no.
No.
Let us see your gratitude.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of want to be like, "Oh, fine, I get it," but it's so true. When you're in a space of gratitude, you're present in that moment, and you're consciously aware of where your energy is, because it's in one point, appreciation and the humility that you're talking about.
And it's genuine and authentic.
100%.
I mean, it can be
100%.
the simple thing. I give gratitude for this blade of grass, right? Or this,
but truly,
absolutely,
and kind of really appreciating, kind of going, wow, this really looks amazing, and having that experience. I feel like that is literally the takeaway for today. It's kind of how you roll with this energy is truly, well, the practical would be being grateful. So like making a list of gratitude or meditating and then being grateful in the present moment, or kind of saying I am, affirmations in gratitude. But it's kind of practicing gratitude, and that then opens up the door to like what we've been speaking about, which is the humility, the grace, the authenticity, the truth, being consciously aware of the thoughts that you tell yourself, the stories. And that's the biggest takeaway from this week, right?
It is. And you said I am. That is another literal practical. When we spoke about words, I was speaking about that earlier. The I am practice, and literally start to saying, I am happy, I am joyful, I am peace, I am expansive. All of those, and you get to this thing where, and I always end with, I am. And it's powerful, and it shifts you. And that is definitely on tap with the energies today. And again, we're speaking to an audience of individuals, of countries, of corporations, of governments. It's applicable to all. And we've been saying this throughout this journey. This is applicable no matter. You're the small business, the entrepreneur, the company, the corporation, the government. It's applicable. Look within, see what you're doing. Are you authentic? Are you operating from humility, which is endearment, or hubris, which is arrogance and repelling? Which one? Because the arc of destiny is forward. So, and it's not that these truths haven't been there, they've just been overshadowed. Well, now they're coming to the purity, like we were discussing with the water, the purity of light, the cleansing, the renewal. And if I may, Jaclyn, before we, yeah, absolutely. And I just want to end with this and turn it over to you for last comments. But this again has to do with hexagram 15. And they said the great treatise calls this hexagram the handle of day. Meeting yourself with unflinching honesty is what enables you to grasp and use your unique character and strength. This is perhaps explained by the commentary on the Judgment, which describes how humility brings good fortune as well as popularity. Someone with inner space to accommodate the truth will naturally be more effective than one who is overfull with their own dramas. Powerful.
So powerful. We had a couple of mic drop moments, as always. I feel like these need to turn into quotes or like little posts on social.
Right.
Yep. As always, it was absolutely fantastic being with you guys for the hour and holding space for you.
Yes.
I feel like you want to say something.
Well, I was just looking because we have a comment which I just wanted to catch before we end the show. So, and I know, and let's both, if you're game for this, because I know you are guided, although you are the human design expert, it's also the beauty of going as guided, which I know you do. And Debbie is asking, she says, need clarity. So in need right now, please can you help me with your guidance from spirit? And so immediately,
I'm smiling because I'm like, immediately I have one saying.
go for it. You jump in and I'll follow.
Okay, so immediately what was interesting, what came up for me was the need, which is lack and scarcity. So immediately would be give gratitude for where you are and what you have already. So instead of noticing or kind of focusing on the lack and kind of going, I'm uncertain, or I don't know, or I need this, or it's kind of coming from a space of detachment. So get in alignment with yourself by giving gratitude to where you are, what you have, what you know, the wisdom. Just by journaling out the prompts as well that I just put out would be perfect. But come at it from a space of no expectation and allow the messages just to flow, because this is a time for you to receive. Remember what I said? We're grounded in the earth. The gate 11, and those are ideas. So you're at the moment to channel if you allow it by being present and conscious in the moment and giving gratitude and going through humility, like James has beautifully reminded us all. You will receive the answers that you're looking for, and that's what I got.
And Debbie, I instantly, in joining with that with the Lady Jaclyn, so instantly the colors white and blue came in, and the image of the dove of peace. So to enjoin with the Lady Jaclyn, you're never lost. You're always somewhere. You're literally right where you need to be. And while the emotion, the fear, the anxiety of the loss, what you're feeling as a loss, turn that into you're not lost. The loss doesn't mean that you're lost. It's simply, it's an opportunity. It's a moment to recalibrate is the word they're giving me, to re-see things. And so this is where the Lady Jaclyn was just by utilizing the questions that she's going to post, it will help you to see things because the need, you need clarity, you need right now. The need is peace. That's why it's white and blue. These are the colors of the Great Mother, Mother Mary, the Great Mother. It's peace. And so eliminate the, they're saying eliminate the distractions, eliminate the fears, the distractions, the chaos, what it appears to be. kind of do a J-Lo, do a yeah. Okay. And then listen and realize nothing is lost. Nothing is as it appears. When you regain a sense of peace, and you do that by being still, by listening, by knowing, I am okay. I'm not lost. I don't need to be afraid. I'm good. I'm right where I'm meant to be. Then you'll ask the question, why? What in this moment is for me? And then that answer will come, or the feeling or the knowing will come. Because this truly is, they're showing me the needle on the compass and everything on a radio dial. And so this is simply your soul's way, your way of recalibrating, resetting yourself. It feels uncomfortable. It feels uneasy. It's scary or whatever. But that's an illusion. So they just literally went, walk tall. Walk tall. And again, we can walk tall from a state and a place of humility, of grace, of goodness, of gratitude. It need not be arrogance. So let us know, Debbie, in the comments if that's helping you. And for everyone listening and joining us, thank you so much. It's always an honor and a privilege for us to come together and listen to the weekly wisdom and insights that the universe and the human design system provides us, and the wisdom that they share with us. It's just a pleasure that you all join us each week. So thank you for that. Last thoughts, Lady Jaclyn?
That was just awesome. It's so, sometimes I just want to kind of remind everyone, actually, sometimes it's the simplest thing that our stubborn selves kind of want to go, I've heard this before, like, give me something new, like something better, something new is going to fix it. But no, it's the simplest thing that is the most powerful. So it's by doing the journal prompts, it's by meditating, it's by standing in your personal power, and that might just be by saying no to someone and respecting your boundaries, or it might be giving yourself a little bit more self-care, taking a bubble bath, doing a heart-centered meditation right now, reframing. There's so many things that are simple, but that's the work, right? And that's where the transformation lies. So it's a reminder that you're in the right place, just like how beautiful DearJames has just given us that permission and that acknowledgement that you are in the right place at the right time, and you haven't missed out on anything, because what is for you and is already waiting for you, and all you're doing is you're matching up to it, you're aligning it every single day, every single moment. So from me, just be kind, be patient with yourself, and do stand in your power, exactly like what DearJames has just mentioned. It is a fantastic time for transformation, and with that fantastic time comes the work of the simple things that sometimes we don't want to admit. But that's where the beauty lies. That's where the juiciness is. Like I always like to say.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
And you haven't been saying it lately, so I'm thrilled that you just. I know. I'm like.
I did.
Like, it's the juiciness.
It is a juicy time. Like, and listen, I kind of want to remind everyone that we sometimes it does feel like it's sugar coated, but it's really not.
It's not.
We're as much in it with you guys and you ladies as maybe you're experiencing it. So just know that this is part of the human experience, and it's supposed to get juicy. Juicy is sometimes messy. And that's okay, because that's part of the whole experience. So, yeah.
It is
go
the beauty.
well the rest of the week. And for us South African babies, enjoy a bit of the long weekend if you're taking a lot.
Yes. Thank you all again for joining us. We love you.
You've been listening to Dear James Live. Gain intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions, and so much more by tuning in next week and visiting DearJames.com.